"If you don't like living with family, you can leave," my mom said, arms crossed as if she were delivering divine wisdom instead of a dismissal. I stared at her. Still holding the bag of groceries, I just hauled up 3 flights of stairs in the pouring rain. My hoodie was soaked, my knees ached, and my phone buzzed non-stop with work messages I hadn't answered all day because I'd been cleaning the kitchen after my brother left it, looking like a frat house sink. And that was her response, her idea of resolution. No thank you for the food. No sorry for yelling last night when I asked for privacy in the one room I technically still had. Just, "You're lucky to have a roof over your head," she added, turning her back like she just dropped the mic. I paid for the roof. $11,400 over 10 months. That's what I'd covered. Rent, Wi-Fi, water, gas, groceries, streaming subscriptions, the entire electric bill when they forgot to pay it last winter. They lived in my apartment. My name was on the lease. My credit was at stake, but they called it our place, and somehow that meant I owed them more. And the worst part? I let them. I gave up my home office so my brother could game in peace. I cooked dinner 5 nights a week. I vacuumed. I even paid for Mom's allergy meds when she said she didn't feel well, but didn't want to bother the insurance. I did all of that quietly because that's what family does, right? But the moment I asked for space, just 1 hour a night where I could close my door and not hear TikTok videos blaring through the wall, she hit me with it. "We're your family. Act like it." That night, I didn't go to bed. I didn't even go back inside. I slept in my car. My feet froze against the floor mat and the back seat dug into my spine like a metal rib cage. I lay there under an old moving blanket and stared at the ceiling, wondering how I became the villain in my own apartment. At dawn, I got out, walked to the 24-hour gas station, and bought a coffee with the last $5 in my Venmo. Then I made a single bank transfer. It was quiet. Just a few taps, one confirmation code. She didn't know it yet, but she had just signed her own way out. They moved in 10 months ago, just for a little while. That was the phrase Mom used in that guilty sweet voice she pulled out when she needed a favor. Just until your dad's surgery clears. Just until your brother finishes the semester? I agreed. Stupidly, I agreed. The lease was in my name. I had the master bedroom. I'd worked 5 years in finance to afford this space, and it finally felt like my own. I had an office with a window, a mattress that didn't sink, a kitchen where the knives were always sharp. But within 2 weeks of their arrival, the apartment stopped being mine. Dad took the recliner permanently, left a dent in it the shape of his disappointment. The TV was always on. Mom took over the pantry. Suddenly, there were religious magnets on my fridge and sticky notes on my food. "Don't touch Mom's yogurt," as if I was the guest. My brother Jason took my office, literally. "Bro, I need a place to study. Finals are killing me," he said, already dragging in his monitor before I even answered. He was 23, taking online classes, failing 2 of them. I asked if he could keep it down after 10 p.m. because I had early meetings. His response? "It's not just your place, man. Chill." By the 3rd month, I was cooking every meal, because nobody else likes frozen stuff. I was paying all the bills, because we're still waiting on Dad's disability check. I was scrubbing the bathroom that I shared with a guy who thought soap just magically disappeared. And somehow they still acted like they were doing me a favor, like I should be grateful for the company. Then came the first humiliation. It was a Tuesday. I was running late for a Zoom call. Couldn't find my charger. Jason had taken it again. When I knocked on my old office door to ask for it back, he didn't even pause his game. "Bro, I told you don't knock like that. You're freaking out my squad." I stood there stunned, in my own apartment, asking for my own charger. Mom popped her head out of the kitchen and said, "Sweetheart, just let him focus. He's under a lot of pressure." I was under pressure. I was working 12-hour shifts to cover 4 people's lives, but no one saw that. Then came Facebook. A picture showed up one night tagged by my aunt. A family barbecue, my living room, my grill, Dad smiling with a beer, Jason with his arm around a girl I'd never met. Mom had captioned it, "Family is everything. Nothing more sacred than being under one roof together." I wasn't in the photo. I was in my room on a deadline, editing someone else's budget report for the 3rd time. No invite. No heads up. No plate saved. The comments rolled in. So happy you're all together again. Your boys look so grown up. What a beautiful home. Mom replied to one, we're blessed. It's ours, but it feels like heaven. Ours. That was the last straw for me, but not for them, because that's when they started really testing me. Jason began using my Uber account. I only found out when I got a $92 charge for a 2 a.m. ride. He denied it, until I showed him the receipt with his drop-off address. Then he said, you make 6 figures. You're really counting pennies now? I asked Mom about it. She sighed. You know how hard it is for him to ask for help. Just let it go. Then Dad stepped in. You're getting bitter, he said. I didn't raise you to be selfish. I didn't respond. I was too busy checking my savings account, watching it drain like a slow leak. Then came the worst part, the family group chat. It started small, Jason sending memes, Mom posting blurry photos of the cat, Dad trying to be funny, until one night I found this. A picture of me asleep at my desk, taken through the crack of my door, captioned, look at this guy, works all day and still can't afford to move out. Dozens of laughing emojis. A reply from my cousin, bro looks like a sad office NPC. Someone even made a GIF. I stared at it for 20 minutes. I didn't blink. I walked into the living room, phone in hand. Jason was laughing at something on his screen. Mom was crocheting. Dad had his feet up. I said, who took this? No one answered. I repeated, who took the photo? Jason shrugged. Relax, man, it's just jokes. Dad didn't even look up. Don't act like a baby. It's family. Then Mom, sipping tea like it was wine. You're always so sensitive. Maybe if you got more sleep, you wouldn't look like that. That night, I checked the lease. The lease they never read. The lease I held. And I realized something chilling. Not only did they treat me like a servant, they thought I couldn't or wouldn't do anything about it. The next day, I found my external drive. Inside it, a folder I'd forgotten I started during lockdown. Screenshots, spreadsheets, voice notes, rent receipts, audio recordings. Like the one from March where Mom said, don't tell him we used the rent money for Jason's laptop. He'll just get dramatic. I saved everything. Then I checked the shared Wi-Fi router logs. Jason had been using my email to apply for crypto accounts. I confronted him. He denied it, until I played a voice memo from a customer service call. His voice, my name. They crossed the line, but I wasn't going to scream. Not yet. I just backed up the files, sent a few copies to a lawyer friend, one to my own cloud, another to a private email only I could access. And then I did something else. I messaged our landlord, told him I'd be moving out at the end of the month. Not alone, but with the lease.